The small ship shook hard as another blast hit its side. Warning lights flashed red across the control room. Captain Park Taesu held tight to his seat and watched the enemy ships on his screen. 3 Valoran patrol vessels followed them through the dark of space. They were faster, stronger, and they knew it. "Shields at 12%, Lieutenant Kim Yuna shouted from her station. Her fingers moved fast across the controls, trying to keep their dying ship alive. "We cannot take another hit like that." Sergeant Baek Woo-jin slammed his fist against the weapons panel. "Let me shoot back. I can hit at least one of them before we die." "Duh. And then the other 2 will destroy us in seconds," Taesu said. His voice was calm, but his heart beat fast in his chest. He had led this small group of rebels for 5 years. They had stolen supplies, freed prisoners, and made the Valoran Empire angry. Now that anger had caught up with them, the Valorans had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. They were tall beings with gray skin and 4 arms, and they believed they were better than every other species. When they came to Earth 300 years ago, humans tried to fight. The war lasted only 2 years. Earth burned, and the survivors scattered across the stars like dust in the wind. Now humans lived as refugees. They worked in alien factories, cleaned alien ships, and kept their heads down. The Valorans allowed them to exist, but never let them forget their place. Humans were nothing. Humans were weak. Humans were defeated. Taesu refused to accept this. So did the 11 others on his crew. "There," Yuna suddenly said. She pointed at the navigation screen. "The boneyard. It is close." Woo-jin turned pale. "You want to hide in there? That place is cursed." The boneyard was a massive field of broken ships and debris. It stretched across millions of kilometers of empty space. 300 years ago, this was where humanity made its last stand. Every warship Earth had left came here to fight the Valoran Armada. They all died. The wreckage still floated in the darkness, a monument to human failure. "Cursed or not, the Valorans will not follow us inside," Taesu said. "They are too proud to chase rats into a garbage pile. Take us in." Yuna changed their course. The small ship turned and flew toward the wall of twisted metal and shattered hulls. Behind them, the Valoran patrol vessels slowed down. Taesu watched them on the screen. They fired a few more shots, but the blasts went wide. Then they stopped at the edge of the debris field. "Stupid humans," a Valoran voice crackled through the communication system. "Go hide with your dead. We will wait here. You will have to come out eventually, and when you do, we will finish what we started 3 centuries ago." The communication cut off. Taesu let out a long breath. Their ship moved slowly through the boneyard. Yuna guided them carefully between floating pieces of destroyed vessels. Taesu looked out the window and felt a deep sadness fill his chest. He saw the broken remains of Earth's last fleet. Some ships still had names painted on their sides. Some still had flags. All of them were torn apart and dead. "My grandfather told me stories about this battle," Woo-jin said quietly. "He said Earth sent everything, every ship, every soldier, every weapon. They knew they would lose, but they fought anyway." "They fought because giving up was not an option," Taesu replied. The ship traveled deeper into the debris field. Hours passed. The Valoran vessels stayed at the edge, waiting like patient hunters. Taesu knew they could not hide forever. Their food would run out. Their fuel would run out. Eventually they would have to face death. "Captain," Yuna's voice broke the silence. She stared at her scanner with wide eyes. "I am detecting something strange." "What is it?" "A power signature. Very faint, but it is there." She adjusted her controls. "It is coming from deep inside the field. Something is still running after all these years." Woo-jin shook his head. "Impossible. Everything here is dead." "My scanner does not lie," Yuna said. "There is power. There is something alive in this graveyard." Sue thought for a moment. They had nothing to lose. Their ship was damaged, their enemies waited outside, and death seemed certain. But curiosity had always been humanity's greatest strength and greatest weakness. "Take us there," he ordered. The journey took another hour. They moved through layers of wreckage, past the bones of destroyers and cruisers and carriers. Then they saw it. A ship. Not broken. Not torn. Intact. It was massive. Easily 10 times the size of their small vessel. Its hull was dark and angular, built for war. Strange symbols covered its surface, and Tae-soo recognized them immediately. They were Korean military markings. Old Korean military markings. "What is that?" Woojin whispered. Yuna scanned the vessel. Her hands trembled. "It is a Dreadnought-class warship. Prototype design. It was never in any record I have seen. According to my readings, it has been here for exactly 300 years, but its reactor is still running. Its systems are in standby mode." Tae-soo stared at the sleeping giant. On its side, he could read the name painted in faded white letters. Rox Baiko. The White Tiger. "Someone hid this ship," Tae-soo said slowly. "Someone put it here and kept it secret. Even from the Valorans." "Why?" Woojin asked. "Because they were saving it." Yuna turned to look at her captain. "They were saving it for us. For humans who might come looking one day." Tae-soo made his decision. "Find a way inside. We are going to wake up the Tiger." Her small ship moved toward the ancient warship. As they got closer, lights began to flicker along the Baiko's hull. Sensors activated. Systems that had slept for 3 centuries began to stir. Deep inside the great ship, an artificial mind opened its eyes for the first time in 300 years. It detected human life signs approaching. It detected human DNA. It detected hope. The Tiger was ready to wake up. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. Tae-soo stepped onto the Baiko and felt the weight of history press against his chest. The corridor was dark, but emergency lights glowed soft blue along the floor, guiding them forward. The air was cold and clean, preserved perfectly for 300 years. "The life support systems are still working," Yuna said. She held a small scanner in front of her. "Everything is working. This is impossible. No ship should survive this long without maintenance." Woojin walked beside them, his weapon raised. "I do not like this. Ships do not take care of themselves." "Some ships do," a voice said. All 3 of them froze. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. It was soft, female, and carried a deep sadness within it. "Do not be afraid," the voice continued. "I am Dr. Han Mira. I am the medical artificial intelligence of this vessel. I have been waiting for you." Tae-soo lowered his guard slowly. "An AI, you are the one keeping this ship alive. I am one of many systems working together. The ship has kept itself ready for humans to return." A soft light appeared in front of them, forming into the shape of a woman. She looked middle-aged, with kind eyes and gray hair pulled back. A hologram, but so real that Tae-soo almost reached out to touch her. "How did you know we would come?" Yuna asked. "We did not know. We only hoped." Mira smiled, but her eyes held centuries of loneliness. "Please, follow me. There is much you need to understand, and time is short. I have detected Valoran vessels waiting outside the debris field." She led them through the corridors of the great ship. Tae-soo saw everything with wonder. The technology here was different from anything he had ever seen. The walls seemed to pulse with energy. The floors adjusted to their footsteps. Even the air felt alive somehow. They reached the bridge. It was large, built for a crew of hundreds, but empty now. Dust covered the chairs and consoles. Mira guided them to the captain's station, where a small screen flickered to life. A man appeared on the screen. He wore an old Earth's military uniform, and his face showed exhaustion and determination in equal measure. His name appeared below the image, Commander Yoon Dae-hyun. "This is a recorded message," Mira explained. Commander Dae-hyun was the captain of this vessel. He recorded this before he died. The recording began to play. "If you are watching this, then you are human, and humanity has survived," Dae-hyun said. His voice was rough but strong. "I do not know how many years have passed. I do not know what the galaxy looks like now. But I know this. You found the Biko because you needed hope. And hope is exactly what this ship was built to provide." Tae-soo leaned forward, listening to every word. "The Valorans thought they understood us. They thought we were simple creatures with simple technology. They were wrong. While our main fleet fought and died, our scientists worked in secret. They studied everything the Valorans used against us, their shields, their weapons, their engines. And they built something the Valorans believed was impossible. The screen showed images of the Baiko during construction. Workers moved around its massive frame. Scientists argued over blueprints. Soldiers loaded weapons that looked like nothing Tesu had ever seen. The Baiko is equipped with quantum shielding. Our enemies cannot target what they cannot see. It carries graviton cannons that tear apart matter at the atomic level. Its engine does not need the jump gates that the Valorans control. This ship can go anywhere, attack anything, and disappear before the enemy knows what happened. Yuna gasped. That technology. The Valorans said it was impossible. They said the physics did not work. They lied, Mira said softly. They lied because they did not want other species to try. The recording continued. Daehyun looked directly into the camera, speaking to whoever might watch in the future. When Earth fell, I had a choice. I could take the Biko into battle and die with glory, or I could hide it and die with shame. I chose shame. I chose to hide this ship in the wreckage of our fallen fleet because I believed that someday someone would need it more than we did. His eyes grew wet with tears he refused to let fall. I am sorry I could not save our world. I am sorry I ran while others fought. But I give you this gift, the last weapon of Earth. Use it well. Make them remember that humanity was never weak. We were never inferior. We were just waiting. The recording ended. Silence filled the bridge. Woojin was the first to speak. He hid instead of fighting. He was a coward. He was smart, Tesu said quietly. One ship, even this ship, could not win that war. But one ship, appearing 300 years later, when nobody expects it, that can change everything. Yuna was already moving to the engineering console. Her fingers danced across the controls, bringing systems online one after another. The reactor is at full capacity. Weapons are charged. The quantum shielding is ready. She turned to Tesu with fire in her eyes. Captain, this ship can fight. Mira stepped closer to Tesu. The ship recognizes you as the highest-ranking human military officer present. By Earth's military law, you have the authority to take command. Do you accept? Tesu looked around the bridge. He thought about his crew of 12, the Valoran ships waiting outside, and the centuries of shame his people had carried. He thought about every human who had been told they were nothing, who had been treated like animals, who had died believing they came from a failed species. I accept, he said. The ship responded. Lights came on across every deck. Engines hummed with power. Screens displayed information in Korean and English. The Biko was waking up completely now, and it was angry. The Valoran Empire has ruled for 1,000 years, Mira said. They have forgotten what human rage looks like. Then we will remind them, Tesu replied. Bring the rest of my crew aboard. We have work to do. Outside the ship, in the cold darkness of the boneyard, the ancient wreckage seemed to shift. Something massive was moving among the dead, something that had been sleeping for far too long. The tiger was opening its eyes. 3 days passed inside the Baiko. 3 days of learning, training, and preparing. Tesu's crew of 12 worked without rest to understand the sleeping giant they had awakened. The ship was designed for 300 people, but Myra's AI systems could handle most functions automatically. They only needed humans for the important decisions, Corporal. Songnari sat in the pilot's chair and felt the ship respond to her thoughts. She was 24 years old, born on a mining station far from Earth. She had grown up hearing stories about humanity's homeworld, but she never really believed them. Earth sounded like a fairy tale. Blue oceans, green forests, cities that touched the sky. Now sitting in this ancient vessel, she understood that the stories were true. The flight system is connected directly to your neural patterns, Mira explained, appearing beside her. The Baiko was designed to feel like an extension of your body. Think about moving, and the ship will move. Ari closed her eyes. She imagined the ship turning left. The great vessel responded instantly, rotating in perfect silence. She imagined acceleration, and the engines pushed them forward with smooth power. This is incredible, Nari whispered. It is like the ship is alive. In a way it is, Myra said. Earth scientists believe that the best weapons are not tools. They are partners. In the weapons room, Wujin discovered what the Baiko could do. He stood before a massive display showing every gun, missile, and cannon on the ship. His hands shook with excitement. Graviton cannons, he read aloud. These weapons create artificial gravity wells that crush enemy ships from the inside. Plasma torpedoes that burn at the temperature of a star's core. Kinetic accelerators that fire metal rods at 1% of light speed. He turned to Yuna, who was working nearby. This ship was not built to fight. It was built to destroy. Yuna looked up from her console. The scientists who designed these weapons studied every Valoran defense system. They found weaknesses in their shields, gaps in their armor, flaws in their sensors. Everything on this ship is specifically designed to kill Valorans. They hated them, Wujin said. They wanted to survive, Yuna corrected. There is a difference. Private Li Dongsu worked in the communications center. He was 28 years old and had once served on a Valoran luxury ship as a servant. He had watched his masters laugh and drink while human workers cleaned their floors. One day, he stole a shuttle and escaped. Now he used his knowledge of Valoran language and codes to monitor enemy communications. Captain, he called out suddenly. I am detecting a transmission from the Valoran patrol vessels. Taesu came to his station. What are they saying? Dongsu listened carefully. His face grew pale. They are reporting to their high command. They told them about us entering the boneyard. High Commander Veth is sending a hunter fleet to destroy us. How many ships? 40 warships. Capital class. They will arrive in 8 hours. The bridge went silent. 40 capital ships was more firepower than most species saw in a lifetime. It was enough to destroy a small planet. It was ridiculous overkill for one rebel vessel. I want to make an example, Myra said quietly. They want to show the galaxy what happens to humans who resist. Desu stood in the center of the bridge, surrounded by his small crew. 12 humans against 40 warships. 300 years of running, hiding, and surviving like rats. He was tired of running. What are our options? He asked. Yuna answered first. We can leave the boneyard through a different exit. The ship's stealth systems might allow us to escape without being detected. We could hide somewhere else, build our strength, and fight another day, and spend another 300 years hiding. Wujin growled. No, we have a weapon now. We should use it. We have never tested these systems in real combat, Yuna argued. We do not know if everything works as designed. One mistake, and we are all dead. Adi spoke from the pilot's seat. I can fly this ship. I know I can. It responds to me like nothing I have ever felt before, Dongsu added. If we run now, the Valorans will search every corner of space. They will never stop hunting us. But if we fight and win, even once, everything changes. Taesu looked at Mira. What do you think? The AI was silent for a moment. I have been alone in this ship for 300 years. I have watched and waited and hoped that someone would come. Now you are here. You found us. I do not want to tell you to fight because you might die. But I will say this. Commander Daehaeon hid this ship so that someone could use it when the time was right. Perhaps that time is now. Taesu walked to the large window at the front of the bridge. Outside, the wreckage of Earth's last fleet floated in eternal silence. He saw the broken ships, the fallen heroes, the proof of humanity's greatest defeat. But he also saw something else. He saw that even in death, those ships had formed a protective shell around the Baiko. They had hidden it, guarded it, kept it safe. The dead were still fighting, still protecting humanity's last hope. We fight, Taesu said. We show the Valorans that the tiger they thought they killed is still alive. We show the galaxy that humanity never stopped being dangerous. We make them remember our names. His crew straightened in their chairs. Fear was still in their eyes, but something else appeared too. Pride, hope, determination. Everyone to your stations, Taesu ordered. We have 8 hours to prepare. When that fleet arrives, I want them to face something they have never imagined in their worst nightmares. Yuna began running system checks. Nari practiced combat maneuvers. Wu Jin loaded weapons. Dongsu monitored enemy communications. And in her digital heart, Mira felt something she had not felt in 3 centuries. She felt like she was finally going home. The Baiko began to move through the boneyard. Finding the perfect position for battle, the tiger was done hiding. The tiger was ready to hunt. The Valoran fleet arrived exactly on time. 40 warships dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation, their dark holes blocking out the stars. Each vessel was massive, covered with weapons and protected by shields that could stop almost anything. High Commander Veth stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the debris field with disgust. Humans hiding in garbage, he said to his officers. How fitting. Begin scanning for their vessel. I want this finished within the hour. His sensors searched the boneyard, pushing through the electromagnetic interference from all the dead ships. For several minutes, they found nothing. Then one officer looked up with confusion on his gray face. Hi, Commander. I am detecting a large power signature. Very large. It is moving toward us. Veth laughed. Their tiny rebel ship is coming to us. They must want to surrender. Oh, sir. This is not a small ship. It is. It is. The officer never finished his sentence. The Baiko emerged from the boneyard like a monster rising from the deep ocean. Its dark hull reflected the light of distant stars. Its weapons glowed with barely contained power. And on its surface, the old Earth markings seemed to burn with cold fire. Veth stopped laughing. What is that? Unknown vessel class, another officer reported, his voice shaking. No match in any database. Power readings are impossible, sir. That ship should not exist. On the Baiko's bridge, Taesu sat in the captain's chair and watched the enemy fleet on his screen. 40 ships. Thousands of Valoran soldiers. Weapons powerful enough to burn continents. And he was not afraid. All stations report, he ordered. Engines ready, Nari replied. I can feel the ship. It wants to move. Weapons hot, Wu Jin growled. Every cannon, every missile, everything is charged. Shields at full power, Yuna announced. Quantum shielding is active. They cannot see our real position. Communications jammed, Dongsu added. They cannot call for help. Mira appeared beside Taesu. Captain, the enemy is attempting to target us. Their weapons are locking on. Let them try. The Valoran fleet opened fire. Hundreds of missiles and energy beams flew across space toward the Baiko. It was enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Any normal ship would have been erased from existence. But the Baiko was not normal. The attacks passed through empty space. The ship was not where their sensors said it was. The quantum shielding bent light and gravity, creating phantom images that fooled every targeting system. The Valorans fired again and again, hitting nothing but darkness. How is this possible? Veth screamed. Where is that ship? We do not know, sir. Our sensors cannot lock on. It appears to be in multiple locations at once. Taesu smiled for the first time in years. Nari, take us into their formation. Wu Jin, pick your targets. The Baiko moved. Not like a ship, but like a predator. It slipped between the Valoran vessels with impossible speed and grace. Nari guided it through gaps that should have been too small, around attacks that should have been too fast. The ship responded to her thoughts perfectly, dancing through the battle like it was made of shadow. Firing graviton cannons, Wu Jin announced. The first shot hit a Valoran cruiser in its center. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the ship began to collapse inward, crushed by artificial gravity that compressed its metal hull like paper. The vessel folded into itself and disappeared, leaving only a small ball of twisted wreckage. 2 more shots. 2 more ships destroyed. Veth watched in horror as his fleet began to die. All ships, concentrate fire on that position. Every Valoran weapon turned and fired at once. The combined attack would have cracked a planet's surface. The Baiko It's already gone. Nari had moved them behind the enemy formation. More graviton beams lashed out. More ships crumbled. A carrier tried to launch fighters, but plasma torpedoes from the Baiko turned them into expanding clouds of fire before they could clear the launch bay. "They cannot touch us," Yuna reported with wonder in her voice. "Our shields are absorbing everything. The quantum field is holding perfectly." Dongsu intercepted enemy communications. "They are panicking. Some captains are ordering retreat. Do not let them reach the jump gate," Tesu ordered. The Baiko's experimental engine activated. The ship disappeared from one location and appeared at another instantly, blocking the path to the nearest jump gate. The fleeing Valoran ships found death waiting for them. Wu Jin conducted the weapons like a musician playing an instrument of destruction. Each shot was precise. Each target fell. He did not waste a single round. The battle lasted less than 20 minutes. When it was over, space around the boneyard was filled with new wreckage. 23 Valoran warships were destroyed completely. 11 more floated dead, their systems disabled by precise strikes. 6 had surrendered, their crews too terrified to continue fighting. Only the flagship remained intact. Tesu stood up from his chair. "Open a channel to High Commander Veth." Dongsu worked his console. "Channel open." Veth's face appeared on the main screen. He looked like a man who had seen a ghost. His gray skin was pale. His forehands trembled. Behind him, his bridge was filled with smoke and fear. "This is Captain Park Tesu of the Earth vessel Baiko," Tesu said. His voice was calm and cold. "Your fleet has been defeated. Your ships are destroyed or captured. You have one chance to survive. What do you want?" Veth whispered. "I want you to go home. I want you to tell your emperor exactly what happened here. Tell him that humans found a weapon he believed was impossible. Tell him that his mighty armada was completely obliterated by 12 people in an old ship. Tell him that Earth remembers. And tell him this is only the beginning." Tesu leaned forward, his eyes burning with 300 years of accumulated rage. "The tiger is awake, and it is hungry." He cut the communication. The Valoran flagship slowly turned and limped toward the jump gate. Tesu let it go. He wanted them to spread the message. He wanted the entire galaxy to know. On the bridge, his crew sat in stunned silence. They had done it. They had actually done it. 12 humans had defeated the greatest military power in known space. Mira appeared beside Tesu, tears of light falling down her holographic face. "Commander Dehayan would be proud," she said. Tesu nodded. "We made them remember. Now we make them afraid." News of the battle spread across the galaxy like fire in dry grass. Within hours, every species in known space had heard the story. A Valoran armada of 40 warships had been completely destroyed by a single human vessel. High Commander Veth, one of the Empire's greatest military leaders, had fled in terror from 12 rebels. At first, nobody believed it. The Valorans had ruled for 1,000 years. They had crushed every enemy and conquered every challenger. The idea that weak, primitive humans could defeat them seemed like a joke. Then the evidence arrived. Images of destroyed warships, recordings of panicked Valoran officers, the testimony of prisoners who had been captured and released. The joke stopped being funny on 100 worlds. Humans who had lived as servants and refugees lifted their heads for the first time in generations. They whispered the name of the ship that had changed everything. Baiko, the white tiger they spoke of. Captain Park Tesu as if he were a legend come to life, in the great hall of the Valoran homeworld. The Emperor sat on his throne and listened to his war council argue. His name was Keth, and he had ruled for 200 years. In all that time, no one had ever challenged his power. Now fear twisted in his ancient heart. It was one ship, a general insisted. "We simply underestimated them. Send a larger fleet and crush them properly." "With what weapons?" Another general shouted back. "Our sensors could not target them. Our shields could not stop them. They destroyed our vessels like toys. What larger fleet would change that?" "They have technology we do not understand," a scientist said quietly. "Technology that we told the galaxy was impossible." If other species learn that we lied about physics itself, they will wonder what else we lied about. Emperor Keth raised one of his 4 hands, and the room went silent. I remember the war against Earth, he said slowly. I was young then, but I remember. We believed destroying their planet would end their threat forever. We were wrong. Humans do not surrender when you defeat them. They wait, they learn. They come back. He looked at his advisors with ancient, tired eyes. Search the boneyard. Search every graveyard where their ships fell. The vessel that destroyed our fleet was a prototype. Where there is one prototype, there may be more. Find them before the humans do, or our empire will face a threat it cannot survive. Far away aboard the Baiko, Taesu received this intelligence from Dongsu's intercepted communications. The crew gathered on the bridge to discuss their next move. They are afraid, Wujin said with satisfaction. They should be afraid. Fear makes them dangerous, Yuna warned. They will hunt us now with everything they have. Taesu nodded. Let them hunt. We are not the prey anymore. Myra stepped forward, her holographic form flickering slightly. Captain, I have something to show you. When I woke up, I began decrypting old military files that Commander Dehan left behind. I have finished decoding them. A map appeared on the main screen. It showed the galaxy, with certain locations marked in bright blue. These are the coordinates of 3 other construction sites where prototype ships were being built before Earth fell. The projects were secret, even from our own government. Different teams, different designs, different locations. Taesu stared at the map. More ships like the Baiko? Not exactly like it. Each prototype was unique, designed for different purposes. But they were all built with the same philosophy. Use science, the Valorans said, was impossible. Make weapons they could not understand or defeat. Nari laughed, a sound of pure joy. There are more tigers out there, sleeping, waiting for us to find them. If they survived, Yuna said carefully, it has been 300 years. Anything could have happened. The Baiko survived, Dongsu pointed out. These ships were hidden on purpose. Their builders knew what they were doing. Su made his decision. We go to the first location. We find out if another ship exists. And if it does, we wake it up. And then? Wujin asked. And then we keep going. We find every ship, every weapon, every piece of technology that Earth left behind. We build a fleet. And when we are ready, we give humanity something it has not had for 300 years. What is that? Nari asked. A home? Mira's hologram glowed brighter. She walked to a console and activated one final file. Commander Dehan appeared on the screen again, but this time he was not giving orders or explaining technology. He was simply speaking from the heart. I do not know who will find this ship, the old captain said. I do not know what the future holds, but I want you to understand why we built the Baiko. We did not build it because we thought we would win. We knew we would lose. We built it because we refused to be forgotten. His eyes seemed to look directly at Taesu, across 300 years of time. Every species in the galaxy told us we were weak. They said human beings were too young, too soft, too emotional to matter. They were wrong. Our emotions made us dangerous. Our love made us fight harder. Our hope kept us building weapons even as our cities burned. The tiger sleeps, but it never truly dies. Dehan straightened his uniform and stood tall. When you find this ship, know that you carry the last roar of Earth within you. Make them hear it across the stars. Make them remember that before there was the Valoran Empire, before there were jump gates and energy shields and galactic politics, there was Earth, there was humanity. And we never learned how to give up. The recording ended. Silence filled the bridge. Taesu looked at his crew, at these 12 people who had survived impossible odds and won an impossible victory. Set course for the first shipyard, he ordered. The tiger hunts again. The Baiko's engines came to life. The great ship turned away from the boneyard and accelerated toward open space. Behind them, the wreckage of their first victory floated in eternal silence. A monument to what humans could do when they refused to accept defeat. The Valoran Empire had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. They had conquered dozens of species and destroyed countless worlds. They had burned Earth and scattered humanity like dust, but they had made one critical mistake. They had assumed that because Earth was dead, humanity had died with it. As the Baiko jumped into the void between stars, heading toward the first hidden shipyard, the galaxy began to change. Resistance cells activated. Human workers stopped bowing. Children who had been taught to be ashamed of their species started to walk with their heads held high. The tiger was awake. The tiger was hunting. And somewhere in the darkness, other tigers waited to join the pack. The Empire had won the first war, but the second war had just begun.